Hey, good morning, everybody. I'm so glad you are here. It's going to be another beautiful day while we're in the middle of quarantine, but I'm glad you're watching these to help keep you on track. It's really important to keep feeding your brain with information that moves you forward. Every day, you want to work on something that moves you forward. So, my name's Rita Hickman. I'm a body mind expert and a shiatsu massage therapist. But what I've spent my life doing is helping women who are in toxic and narcissistic relationships. And we use all that body mind stuff, all that um, acupressure and Asian medicine and all of it to help women understand how they work so they can take back the control in their own body, even in their own life. So today we're talking about what is a narcissist. So the topic of narcissism, oops, hang on. Let's try this again. Sorry about that. So I'm just going to start over. My name's Rita Hickman. I'm a body mind expert and a shiatsu massage therapist. And my specialty is helping women who are narcissistic and toxic relationships. I help them figure out how their body works, how their mind works, how it works together, and how to take back control. Because one of the biggest problems that women have who are in toxic relationships isn't that they aren't smart enough, or isn't that they're broken, or they aren't capable enough. It's that they haven't gotten the support that they needed and the information they've needed to take back that power, to keep their body from hijacking them and putting them into fight or flight, into freak out mode. How do we stay level and calm when you are spending time or engaged or dependent upon someone who is considered narcissistic? So, what is a narcissist? Let's start at the very beginning. Narcissism is a spectrum, and everyone has a dose of narcissism. But what tends to happen is in life, we balance things out. The people who are more narcissistic end up in relationships with people who are less narcissistic to try to balance the whole thing out. Now, can this change? Can people who are more narcissistic become less? And people who are less, but have less healthy narcissism, can they get more of it? Absolutely. And that's what we're working on with you. We're working on how to get healthy self esteem, healthy self respect, and a better understanding of how the world works so that your body doesn't keep betraying you, keep hijacking you, and you end up victimized again and again by a narcissist. So, narcissism is what I've just been saying, a sort of self appreciation, self value, and putting that above all others. So, healthy narcissism looks like self respect. Unhealthy narcissism looks like self absorbed selfishness that only benefits the user, the narcissist themselves. Healthy narcissism is where we lift everybody up by also lifting ourselves up. Unhealthy narcissism is where we end up using people or abusing them because our main focus in life is to protect ourselves from everything that's out there. So, I mean, narcissism at its core is something that we're all dealing with, something that is important to have. So, why do people who have unhealthy narcissism, how do they show up? What do they look like in the world? Someone with unhealthy narcissism usually has things which are encouraging the narcissistic behavior. Maybe it's chronic physical pain, it could be chronic emotional pain, it could be some sort of imbalance in their system. Many times, unhealthy narcissism starts from the very beginning, either with childhood trauma and something like ADD or ADHD or bipolar. It's like it's a big stew of things that kind of went wrong, where someone didn't learn to have self respect. Someone didn't learn how to value themselves. And because they don't, they assume that no one else will value them and they'll have to fight their way out and protect themselves at all costs, no matter what. Now, healthy narcissism is something that is developed. It's where you have enough positive experiences in life that say, you know what, I deserve to be treated with kindness and as if I have value. And I deserve to expect other people to treat me that way too. People who have unhealthy narcissism, their focus is not on bringing everybody up. Their focus is on how can I get what I need all the time, regardless of the consequences. That's unhealthy narcissism. And typically that can come out as emotional imbalances. It can come out as verbal abuse, emotional abuse. It can come out as manipulation or convincing somebody else that they're crazy. It ends up being a whole game for a lot of people who have unhealthy narcissism. So reasons that they feel they need to protect themselves at all costs by taking on the offensive. So they end up in relationships with people who are codependent, people who see the wounds, people who see what's going on underneath the surface and want to help. Now that's the challenge. We can't really help someone with unhealthy narcissism if we don't have a good dose of healthy narcissism, self-respect and self-love. One that says, I'm not going to allow this relationship to look this way. One that says, I'm not going to allow you to treat me in the way that you've treated me. That one. That's healthy self-respect. And it comes out with an eye looking for the benefit of everybody, not just for the benefit of one. So does someone on the more codependent side, do they end up sometimes behaving in a very unhealthy narcissistic way? Absolutely. Mainly because a narcissist convinces people who are more empathic or who don't have good boundaries or who more have a more sensitive nervous system, they tend to convince those people that that they're the problem, that they don't deserve to have self-respect. They don't deserve to have self-love. It's a whole kind of brainwashing thing that can happen. And so eventually what happens is the partner, you, the empath or the compassionate one, ends up becoming more narcissistic because you feel like you can't help it, because you feel like you're in a situation where you're just consistently imprinted or brainwashed day after day that it's all your fault and you don't deserve to be treated well. So narcissism in the healthy way is self-respect and self-love. It's boundaries and lines and a voice that says that I'm not going to allow myself to be treated this way anymore. Unhealthy narcissism is someone that does not have self-respect or self-love, which means that they have to protect themselves from everybody seeing that they don't have that strength and that confidence and that knowing. It's a bluff. It's a big bluff, and it's a bluff that they've turned into their whole life, turned into their whole reality. Now, underneath that bluff, there's usually a lot of things that can be controlled. Something like ADD or ADHD, which is a big reason that people end up with borderline personality. ADD, ADHD, if those aren't managed, um, then someone who has higher narcissistic tendencies or also has, all that PTSD stuff going on from when they were a kid, they'll get triggered over and over and over and over, and they'll behave badly over and over and over and over because they don't have any other skills over and over and over and over because they don't think that any other skills exist or the other skills will work. Day after day after day. They're stuck in a loop. They're stuck in a pattern of not understanding that when you have healthy self-respect, that's when you get the things that you need and want. And when you don't have self-respect, when you think that everyone's out to get you and that you have to protect yourself from everyone, that you aren't going to be able to protect yourself in the first place. If you feel that way, then they end up destroying their relationships. So if you're ready to turn your relationship around, whether it's with yourself or with someone who is more narcissistic, a romantic relationship, a family relationship, the main thing, the first place you really need to start is looking at how to respect yourself, what that looks like in the world, how you can do it, what you need in order to be able to do it. How can we give you the support? Not focusing on who you are right now, but focusing on who you want to be, who you're becoming. And you're becoming someone who doesn't need a narcissist in their life, doesn't need someone to manipulate and control and gaslight them. They don't need someone who tells them what to do and has poor emotional control and probably an undeveloped amygdala. So you start to learn what that looks like. And the people around you, if a narcissist wants to stop being a narcissist, then they'll raise their game. They'll start behaving better. They'll start having better skills. They'll see that boundaries and owning your voice and respecting yourself is really what works in life. And that bullying or controlling or manipulating is just a recipe for failure. So, narcissist is someone who doesn't have healthy narcissistic qualities, which are self respect and self love. They're people who have unhealthy narcissism qualities, which is based in protecting themselves at all costs. Can you get through to them? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. You know, if a narcissist is tired of not having relationships and has a little bit of hope that there could be another way to live life, they may open their mind. But this can only happen usually after decades, after there've been a bunch of crashes in their life, after they've blown everything up over and over and over and over, and maybe they get a little bit more maturity or polish on them. Or at the very beginning, you know, when they're still young, before their brains are fully developed, before they're 28, you can still have a powerful influence on how they live the rest of their lives. So you can have an impact, but sort of in between, you know, in between those windows when they're just living their life, or when they've sort of given up, they've passed the hump, there isn't a lot you can do because they've decided this is who I want to be, this is the way I want to live, and anything else is just way too much work. So if you're in a relationship with someone who has unhealthy narcissistic qualities and you want to have healthy narcissism, then reach out because you don't have to do this alone. You don't have to keep putting up with feeling abused mentally, emotionally, and physically. Um, you don't have to tolerate that. No matter how scary and awful it seems, there's a way out. And we can help you find that way out. So I've got a whole free library of all of these live streams. I also have a beautiful coaching program where women come together every week and we have guests and we have sacred talking circles and we have tools and we have support. It's a beautiful group. And many women in the group also coach with me one-on-one. Some of them meet with me once a month. Some of them meet with me once a week. It completely depends upon where they're at and what they need. So consider reaching out. If you're feeling stuck, consider reaching out. And if you know someone who's in a narcissistic relationship or toxic relationship, and one of the biggest problems is people don't realize that's what it is, share these videos with them because we can start to raise all of us up. We don't have to live like this anymore of us versus them in a whole enemy, you know, king of the mountain sort of way, very patriarchal sort of way. We can live in a way that is supportive of everybody. And that's the direction we want to go. Supportive of even you and who you are and what you deserve. So I hope you have a great rest of your day. Share these videos, reach out, and we'll get you on the right path. Okay. Have a great day. I'll talk to you later. Bye.